Drinking alcohol, smoking, and drug use are harmful to health.
I've always believed that some places hold memories, echoes of the past that linger like a faint perfume in the air. The cabin in the Whispering Pines was one such place. My wife, Elena, and I had rented it for a weekend getaway, a chance to escape the city's hum and reconnect after months of working ourselves to the bone. The moment I saw the listing online, something about the cabin's rustic charm called to me. A wooden structure nestled deep in a forest of towering pines, promising solitude and serenity. But as we drove up the winding dirt road, the trees closing in around us, I felt a prickle of unease I couldn't shake. The cabin was exactly as advertised, a cozy, weathered structure with a wraparound porch, surrounded by pines that swayed gently in the autumn breeze. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of sap and damp earth. Elena was thrilled, her eyes sparkling as she unpacked our bags, chattering about hiking trails and roasting marshmallows. I tried to match her enthusiasm, but something about the place felt off. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the forest was holding its breath. That first night, we sat by the fireplace, sipping wine and laughing over old memories. The cabin's interior was warm, with creaky wooden floors and faded quilts draped over the furniture. A single oil painting hung above the mantel, a stark depiction of the surrounding pines under a stormy sky, their branches twisted like gnarled fingers. I didn't like it, but Elena found it artsy. As the fire crackled, I noticed a faint sound, almost imperceptible at first. A low, rhythmic whisper, like voices murmuring just beyond the walls. I chalked it up to the wind moving through the trees. Pines could sound like that, couldn't they? "Do you hear that?" I asked Elena, setting my glass down. She tilted her head, listening. "What? The wind? I don't know. Like whispering." She laughed, brushing it off. "You're just tired, Mark. City ears aren't used to the quiet. Come on, let's get some sleep." I nodded, but as we climbed into the creaky bed upstairs, the sound persisted. It wasn't the wind. It was too steady, too deliberate, like words I couldn't quite make out. I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, the whispers weaving into my thoughts, until I drifted into an uneasy sleep. The next morning, Saturday, I woke to find Elena already up, brewing coffee in the tiny kitchen. Sunlight streamed through the windows, banishing the previous night's unease. I told myself I'd been imagining things, overtired, like Elena said. We spent the day exploring the forest, following a trail marked on a faded map we'd found in the cabin. The pines were dense, their needles carpeting the ground, muffling our footsteps. Every so often, I'd catch that whispering sound again, faint but persistent, like a conversation just out of reach. Elena didn't hear it, or if she did, she didn't mention it. By afternoon, we reached a clearing with an old stone well at its center, its mouth covered by a rotting wooden lid. The air here felt colder, heavier, and the whispering seemed louder, though still indistinct. I peered at the well, noticing crude carvings etched into the stones, symbols I didn't recognize, worn by time, but oddly deliberate, like runes. "Creepy," Elena said, snapping a photo with her phone. "Wonder how old this is." "Probably been here forever," I replied, trying to sound casual. "Let's head back. It's getting late." That night, the whispers grew harder to ignore. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, seeping through the cabin's walls. I sat up in bed, straining to make out words, but they remained just beyond comprehension. Elena slept soundly beside me, her breathing soft and even. I envied her peace. Slipping out of bed, I crept downstairs, hoping a glass of water would calm my nerves. As I stood in the kitchen, the whispers sharpened for a moment, and I froze. A single word cut through the murmur. Mark. My heart lurched. I spun around, expecting to see someone behind me, but the kitchen was empty. The fire had died to embers, casting long shadows across the room. The painting above the mantel seemed to loom larger in the dim light, the pines in it almost moving, their branches twisting toward me. I told myself it was my imagination, that I was overtired, but the air felt charged, like the moment before a storm. I didn't sleep after that. By morning, I was jittery, my eyes gritty with exhaustion. Elena noticed, her brow furrowing as she handed me coffee. "You okay, babe? You look like you saw a ghost." I forced a smile. Just didn't sleep well. That whispering noise kept me up. She frowned. "I didn't hear anything. Maybe it's the pipes or something?" "Yeah, maybe," I said. But I didn't believe it. Pipes didn't say your name. We spent Sunday morning inside, playing cards and trying to relax. Elena was in high spirits, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us. The whispers were constant now, a low hum that followed me from room to room. I tried to distract myself, but every creak of the floorboards, every rustle outside, set my nerves on edge. Around noon, Elena suggested another hike, but I wasn't keen. The forest felt oppressive now, its beauty tainted by that relentless whispering. Still, I didn't want to ruin her weekend, so I agreed. We returned to the clearing with the well, and I noticed something I hadn't before. The wooden lid was slightly askew, as if someone had moved it. My stomach twisted. "Elena, didn't we leave this closed yesterday?" She glanced at the well, shrugging. "Maybe the wind knocked it loose?" "There's no wind today," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. She gave me a look. "Mark, you're freaking out over nothing. It's just an old well." I wanted to argue, but she was already wandering off, snapping more photos. I approached the well, my curiosity battling my unease. The carvings on the stones seemed clearer today, their jagged lines forming patterns that made my head ache. I reached out, tracing one with my finger, and a jolt ran through me. Not pain, but a cold electric sensation that made my skin crawl. The whispers surged, a chorus of voices now, overlapping and urgent. I stumbled back, my heart pounding. "Elena, we need to go," I called, my voice trembling. She turned, frowning. "What's wrong?" "I don't know. Just, let's get back to the cabin." She didn't argue, sensing my panic. We hurried back, the whispers chasing us through the trees. By the time we reached the cabin, I was shaking, my mind racing with half-formed fears. Elena tried to calm me, suggesting we leave early, but I couldn't shake the feeling that leaving wouldn't stop whatever was happening. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. I could almost make out phrases now. "Stay, listen, below." Elena still claimed she heard nothing, but I saw her glance nervously at the windows, as if she sensed something too. We packed our bags, planning to leave first thing in the morning, but the idea of spending another night in the cabin filled me with dread. Around midnight, I woke to a sound, not the whispers, but a low rhythmic thumping, like something heavy being dragged across the floor downstairs. Elena was asleep, her face peaceful in the moonlight. I slipped out of bed, grabbing the flashlight from my bag. My hands shook as I crept downstairs, the thumping growing louder with each step. The living room was dark, the fire long dead. The painting above the mantel seemed to glow faintly, the pines in it twisting unnaturally. The thumping came from the kitchen, I edged toward the doorway, my flashlight beam cutting through the shadows. The sound stopped abruptly, replaced by a single, clear whisper. "Mark, come." I froze, my breath catching. The kitchen was empty, but the back door was ajar, a cold breeze slipping through. I hadn't left it open. My pulse roared in my ears as I stepped outside, the flashlight trembling in my hand. The forest was silent now, the whispers gone, but the air felt thick, oppressive. Something drew me forward, toward the trail we'd taken to the well. I don't know why I went. Every instinct screamed to turn back, to wake Elena and flee. But my feet moved as if pulled by an invisible thread. The forest was pitch black, the pines looming like silent sentinels. The well appeared ahead, its stones glinting in the flashlight's beam. The wooden lid was gone, the dark mouth of the well yawning open. The whispers returned, a cacophony of voices rising from the depths. I leaned over the edge, my flashlight illuminating nothing but darkness. The air grew colder, the voices clearer. "Mark, see. Mark, no." My head swam, the carvings on the stones pulsing in my vision, their shapes twisting into faces, hollow, eyeless faces that seemed to watch me. Something moved below, a shape, indistinct but massive, shifted in the darkness. My flashlight flickered, then died, plunging me into blackness. The whispers became a scream, a single word repeated over and over. "Mine." I stumbled back, tripping over roots, and ran. The forest seemed to close in, branches snagging at my clothes, the whispers chasing me. I burst into the cabin, slamming the door behind me. Elena was awake, standing in the living room, her eyes wide with fear. "Mark, what's happening?" she cried. "We're leaving. Now," I said, grabbing her hand. We threw our bags into the car, the whispers deafening now, filling the air like a storm. As I started the engine, I glanced at the cabin one last time. The painting was visible through the window, and I swear the pines in it were moving, their branches reaching outward, as if trying to escape the canvas. We drove in silence, the forest shrinking in the rearview mirror. The whispers faded, but the weight of that place stayed with me. Elena didn't speak, her hands clenched in her lap. I wanted to ask if she'd heard anything, seen anything, but I couldn't find the words. We never returned to the Whispering Pines. I tried to research the cabin later, but the listing had vanished, and the rental agency claimed no record of it. The forest, though, it's still there, waiting. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, I hear the whispers again, faint but unmistakable, calling my name. And I wonder if I ever truly left that place, or if something followed me home.